four, three, two, one.
Live
Pod-A-Holics
on Facebook.
on this beautiful Friday evening or afternoon. Here in Indianapolis, it's
Still morning.
getting started. Getting it's starting to get a little cooler, but it's 59 degrees today. No snow
There's
yet.
snow outside.
No snow yet,
Guys,
but it's
damn,
coming.
it's been a hot minute. Yo, if you really think about it, dude, we didn't do a podcast on Monday. Did we do one
We
or
did one Friday
no,
last
no?
week.
Yeah, we did one Friday. Sorry, I was thinking it was
We
the
skipped two
Monday we didn't
Mondays.
do. Yeah. Because I was in the airport, and then we just fuck man, we've been so busy
We
this week. It's
we
been
we skipped two Mondays. I was sick on this Monday, and I was just out of it,
yeah.
out of it, out of it, out of it. But we're here. We're making
We're
it
back.
happen.
We're here for you.
Podaholics episode 23.
We'll be
I
coming
just
back
wanted,
twice a week again.
yeah, I just wanted to say for those of you who are listening to this episode in particular, I appreciate you guys listening. I did you see the post I made yesterday? Out of the 22 episodes we've posted, we've gotten almost 500 listens, which is super solid.
That's so cool,
Um,
especially for a starting podcast too.
yeah, and what's interesting is that we also have people listening on Google Podcasts, and I just submitted last night to listen to the podcast on like Apple Podcasts.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Um, so that would be cool. It looks like it's there. I don't know. It's really weird, but I can't find it on Google. But it doesn't also give me a link. I don't know. Either way, uh, yeah, you guys are awesome for listening. Regardless, appreciate that as always. Um, but yeah, Corey, how you feeling?
Um, tired right now, man. It's been a grind. Like it's been like a real hustle. And, well, obviously we've been talking about this week, like when we were chatting. Um, it's like right now, like I've kind of hit this level where it's like almost maxing myself out in bandwidth now. Like I know this was gonna happen. Like we chatted about this before. We knew this was gonna happen, but it happened a lot quicker than we thought.
Yeah.
And now it's like, and we preach this all the time. Like it's kind of funny because it always comes back around. Like I say this to my clients all the time, and it comes back around. But I'm I said I was being very selfish because I was, and I'm very being very resistant to changing things because I am a total control freak for sure. And honestly, like ELC is growing. ELC is growing really, really fast. OMG is killing it right now, and we're doing a lot of things with the two, and especially with our OMG coaches, it's very one on one. Is very personal. It's a lot of chit chat, a lot of stuff that we got to do working together. And it takes up a lot of time, but then also now with ELC growing the way it is, and we're probably booking like 20 25 calls a week right now, and we're just just organically of people that just watch content, and like I am so appreciative of that, but like I'm getting really kind of burnt out. And yeah, so we were having this conversation the other day, and now we're putting some pieces in place because like this has happened in the past to like me before many times, and this has happened to Kevin as well, and we've also seen this with lots of other coaches. But it's just true. Each new level you hit, you're always gonna hit. It's always essentially it's the same fucking problems. It's always the
Mm-hmm.
same exact problems at each level. They're just amplified.
Mm-hmm.
So then instead of like looking at it where it's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, I'm like gonna skid out here. It's like, okay, so this is happening. So now I've seen this play before. This is how it's gonna play out, and nothing changes. Where if we now change something like this, something like this, something like this, then it can now do that. But then now that goes into just us being basic human beings and just us. We're also very resilient to change, and it's not that we're resilient to change. It's because it's uncomfortable, we become set in our ways, and we want to do certain things, but then those certain things only they hit a level, and then you hit a glass ceiling. And in order to break those glass ceilings, you have to be open and willing to do the things that are going to make you uncomfortable. Where for me, having to talk about getting help with sales calls and getting people enrolled in the program. Like I need to get help with that because I'm so tapped out with like Kevin. Like what was the day when I was on like calls? Like was it like 7 a.m. to 10?
Dude, I get it. I get it. That
So like
was
we were chatting about all this, right? And like it's kind of funny because this we had the same talk last night with our coaches at OMG, and like we were talking about the same stuff, and they're all kind of struggling with the same kind of things, which hit new levels. They're getting all these calls booked, and they're not used to hitting all these new things with like their marketing and all this stuff, and they're getting to feeling like they're overwhelmed. And it's kind of funny because I'm kind of hitting that same position too,
mhm.
you know.
Yep.
Um, and it's just one of those things because we've seen this because we've also been working with coaches and we've seen this kind of story play out multiple times. And it's when we're able to start seeing these things start happening, that's where we can like really start stepping in and these adjustments. So last night when we were on the call, we were talking to our students about what was it? Our one student was talking about how they can't keep up with all the marketing that we're prescribing them. Let's say,
Mhm.
right? And we were talking about it's not so much like having to do absolutely everything, just like how we would bring like a fitness client into our business. and
Mhm.
and yeah, there's workouts, there's nutrition, there's live trainings, there's the course, there's resources, there's check-ins, there's all these things. It can get
Yep.
very, very overwhelming very fast.
Very quick.
But that's just in an ideal, those are the all the things that come with it. Do I expect you to be 100% at that, like right out of the no, no, I don't. Right. Like, but I'm still going to give you all the tools and lay it all out for you. So then that way we can start picking them up and start using them. Do I think you're going to be efficiently, sorry, you need to use all the tools effectively and efficiently right out of the gate? No, you're going to make a mistake. Just like is it the first time you picked up a hammer and you hit your thumb on a nail, right? It's going to be the same kind of thing. Then you get better at what you're doing, and then you can start picking up more tools as you get more consistent with things. So now, as we start going through this, this is where when we start getting caught up in all these things that could be, let's say, stressing us out, overwhelming us, kind of like that overcasted cloud that can happen, especially when we start hitting these struggles and levels, and that's all pushing us towards growth. When we start hitting these different stresses and struggles, it's going to now start blocking out a lot of the positivity that we are doing. So, like our one client that was talking about how they couldn't keep up with all the marketing, but yet how many calls did they close?
3 now
Right. So,
in
like
a
when
week.
we're, yeah. So then, like when, like you were saying that, what were you saying to her? Like throughout this, you're telling her to, like, not just look at just these negative things that are going on, but these positive things that she has going on in her business. And then it was just seeing that change in her right on the call right there.
I'm getting heated thinking about this, and not because of,
I guess I
like,
could see
her,
kind of your blood boiling right now.
not because of her, it's mostly because, like, our client that we're talking about, and I'm just not gonna share names, right? But our client that we're talking about is doing a tremendous job. I think she is.
Mhm.
But some people will be so scared to ever do anything because they're afraid of the stress. And what makes me so proud of this particular client of ours is that she came to the call, she cried in front of us and other students, and turned around and said, "I'm going to be fine tomorrow once I get some sleep." And then we backed her up by saying she's doing the right things. Okay. And I'll go into a little bit of a reasoning of why explaining doing the right things and not just saying that you're going to do or saying that you're capable. That shit doesn't matter. That's current. But what are you going to do? And like, how is that tying into your current is also different. But some people do, they'll bitch and complain and oh my god, dude, I hate my job. I hate my current state. I don't know. Like I got to figure all this stuff out, man. And like you come in and you're like, well, dude, do this, dude, do that. Hey, chick, I got an idea for you. You mentioned the other day that you're kind of stressing. Here's some ideas. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. What does that look like, actually? Well, I mean, you're gonna have to get into it in order to figure it out. But this is kind of the outcome that a lot of people get when it comes to this. that seems too hard. Dude, stop being a bitch. Stop being such a bitch. Like our client is by far the furthest thing from that word. The furthest thing from that word, based off her actions this week and based off her effort in expressing herself last night. She's far from being a whole ass bitch.
Well, like
She is the
that's the thing, but
definition of
it's
like action, dude. And like
yeah, but some
some
people
people are
don't
so
want to do
scared.
that change. Some people don't want to do it, and it doesn't make any sense why they
It doesn't
don't
make
want to
it.
take action. But again, like these are the types of things that these are these limiting self beliefs that we place on ourselves all the time. And you know what? Like even for my DMer, like my DMer that works with me, like we've had to have really hard conversations, and now she absolutely slays it. But like it's
Yeah,
breaking down these walls, it's breaking down these self-limiting beliefs, and like this,
yeah.
these are like things like yeah, like we're not a mentorship, we're an agency, but we also get it because we understand where they came from. Like these
We get
people
it.
also came from because like we've seen this in mentorships all the time. Like me and you have literally seen this to the point where it's like how many students it just fall out of this shit because it's just not set up for them to break down those walls. It's like here's the tools, now go have at it.
It's not. It doesn't take into account of like real world stuff and like having real world conversations. It's too fluffed.
Mhm.
And the big thing is like, Kevin, stop calling people bitches because they don't want to do something. Maybe they just don't understand. Look, I get it. I get it. But the thing is, too many people bitch out because they just don't put themselves in a position where they can try to understand. And the big thing is like the example that I gave our student yesterday was, I congratulate you for not sitting there and just writing affirmations of like, I'm a great person. I'm a cool mom. I'm a great coach. I am deserving. I am fuck all that. Fuck all that. That literally doesn't get you anywhere. It tells you who you are, but the whole reason why you may be stressed, the whole reason why you may be like, dude, I can't pay my bills, dude, I can't spend time with my family, I can't do this, is because your current state, and you writing affirmations that you're a cool person and you're deserving of a lot of cool things, doesn't change your current state. It affirms that you're a cool individual. It affirms that you may be, entitled to some things, maybe, okay, but it doesn't change your current state. Humans are gravitated by growth, whatever that growth is. So then my coach asked me this, like, what are you doing in order to mitigate stress? I said, look, I don't really affirm things. I journal occasionally, but I don't really affirm things. What I do is I work in spurts of 2 to 3 hours heavy. Like,
Mhm.
and after I'm done with those 2 to 3 hours, I feel less stressed because I grew some way. Rather than sitting there and affirming shit that doesn't really change my status, it's horizontal growth. Like affirmations is horizontal growth. Okay.
Mhm.
And horizontal growth just adds a bandwidth. Like, I am a person who's deserving of these things, but horizontal growth stays the same. Vertical growth,
Like doing affirmations helps mitigate your stress and it helps you mentally get ready for the things that take on. But like that shit's
yes,
still gonna come. It's still gonna
horizontal growth.
exactly, and it's still gonna come. Like
It
that's
it
not gonna
opens up
help
the
you,
hole so more things can go into the hole.
right?
But
So
if your hole is
that's part of
shallow,
it. Yeah.
you can't fill it up with shit. So you gotta have vertical growth. Okay. And sometimes it could be low, it could be going down or going up. But nonetheless, if you're talking going to the sky, it's good. If you're talking going to the middle of the earth, it depends on your perception, right? Of which one's better or worse. But nonetheless, you're going up or down, right? And a lot of people don't look at like this example of this person is like going to a job, and then after their job they're fucking tired, but they still come home and they spend 2 to 3 hours doing additional. And with that, she's grown an additional $2,500, $3,000 in her pocket. 3 weeks from now it could be a 10 grand month, helping out other adults fix their health and fitness, which then
While
creates
giving her the
referrals.
yeah, and while also gives her the time back in her life to have time
And
with
it's
her
going to give
kids
her
and
the
her
time
husband.
back. And it's gonna
And
give her the
like,
time back.
and I think why people get so scared of this, and like maybe it comes down to just our psychological predisposition, or maybe this comes down to just how we grew up with shit. But yeah, you know what? Writing out affirmations, doing all that for your help to bandwidth is good. It also helps with that negative self talk that puts down like, puts holdbacks on us, but those are just parts of the things that we need to do.
Mhm.
A lot of times when you're even doing actionable steps, you're posting, you're DMing, you're booking calls, you're getting on calls, but you're still not converting. Like you might be seeing like all these things, but again, like for you to have gotten on that call that you didn't close, you had to market, you had to DM, you had to book the call, you had to build that like trust and respect to book that call for them to even want to get on a call with you to even
Mhm.
listen you
Mhm.
out. But yet, because you didn't close that call, well, every other good thing that you did just didn't fucking matter. Same type of thing here. Like we can look at this in any part of life, but anytime we have positive things going on in our lives, no matter what it is, you're seeing growth, seeing all these different things. As soon as a negative thing happens, or you don't see an outcome that you want, or something again you think is something happening to you, you don't look at that. Sorry, pause. It overshadows all the good stuff that you've done. You forget about it. So you forget all about that little bit of vertical growth that you've made while also having to go through a lesson over here. But because you had to go through a lesson over here, because maybe you stumbled on your pitch a little bit, you didn't place it, you didn't have a
Yep.
presentation, you didn't have an understanding of what you're supposed to do on it, whatever the case may be, you still had to do all those good steps leading up to it. Same thing for, let's say, even like a weight loss client, like, right, they're doing all the good things, and just because they had one night at a Thanksgiving, it doesn't ruin all the good things you did. So don't let that ruin everything you do, where you, like you said, people quit. Well, don't quit because you're not good at a skill. This is now where you can now refine that skill and get good at it. But again, the reason why, and again, this is in life, when shit happens to you, whether this is a business of yours fails, or whether this is you trying to do a certain strategy and it fails, like these are the type of things that are going to now teach you these lessons. So then that way you're going to now learn these skills, understand these skills. And here's the thing, you failing or not succeeding in something, maybe that was to give you a perspective, so then that way you can now attach it to another dot and connect another thing that you didn't understand before, that is now going to leapfrog you forward. This is kind of the analogy I gave, is like how I'm kind of feeling right now is, I don't know any of y'all that have driven a like a really fast car, rear wheel drive, and you just floor it, like you pin it, like you're racing something, you just start burning it out. Okay, any of you car people out there, well, Corey, you should have those lotions in your tires. Well, I don't know that shit. Okay, leave me alone. But you're burning out your tires. You're burning, you're burning, you're burning, you're burning, and you're shifting the second. You're red lining. You're like, fuck, can I catch some traction and just get going already? You feel your car kind of like going back and forth. You kind of have to counter steer, like just keep it straight. But eventually, that thing's gonna fucking catch. And then those that can now take it in a straight line are going to be able to control it, with those that you see that don't know how to drive their cars. Not saying I know how to drive everything, but you see them spin their Ferraris out or smash into a curb, whatever. Right? Same kind of thing here. So right now, when we've done this in the past, yeah, maybe we spun out, burned out. We haven't set ourselves up for it because we didn't understand. Okay, maybe you had to keep yourself straight here. So when it did catch at this point, you're going to go straight, opposed to going sideways into a fucking wall. So these are the kind of things. So now that these things are happening, don't think of them like, oh, they're happening to me, like suck at this, like this is now like, no. These things are happening for you, so that way you can learn the skills, learn the lessons. And you know what? Maybe you have some tendencies or some ways of thinking or doing shit that used to suit you well before, that you need to fucking change. Maybe
Mhm.
there's other aspects in your life right now that maybe, you know what, you need to let those things fall away from your life because they may have suited you before. They don't suit you now to the person that you want to become, the business you want to have, whatever the case may be, because it's just not up to that standard. And it's because we, as humans, we are scared to change. We don't, it's uncomfortable. Like maybe we have some type of ties that we justify not letting things. I've been there. I've completely been there. And like, that's why I'm saying it from my personal experience. When these things are happening, it's not happening to you. Like my whole family thing, it's like, oh, if we didn't have bad luck, we wouldn't have luck at all, right? Like you know how fucking toxic of a way that is of thinking. Now that like I'm an adult and I'm actually really thinking, I'm like, no, that's bullshit. Because it's not happening to you where it's like, no, you're not ever gonna go ahead in life. It's like, no, maybe you're just doing the wrong shit and you're not worthy of accomplishing that. So you gotta let some things go. Maybe you're that one entrepreneur right now. You know what? You're killing it. 10, 15, 20-ish K a month. Um, you still go out, you still party, you still go have fun and do some shit. You know, like that's just still maybe you haven't grown the fuck up a little bit, whatever. We're all been there. It out so that way you can leapfrog forward and build a reputable brand, something that's going to be generating more doors opening for you in the future, opposed to just being stuck doing the same thing over and over. Because you level money, whatever it is, but you're doing the same thing over and 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 over. You're gonna fucking hate it.
Mhm.
So again, like there's all these different levels as to all these things. So maybe your business isn't at the point you want it to be because maybe there's some things you got to let the fuck go. Maybe there's some things that you're doing right now that you're so headstrong and just know it has to be this way about because you're directed on this path, but you're so focused here you can't see all these other things around. You know what? Sometimes you gotta let that the fuck go. Because when you finally let things, man, you know, maybe these things are like, Kevin, we've talked about this before, but they're like 80% match, 85, 90. If they're holding those positions in your life, the thing that's 100% is never going to be able to do that because we're
Mhm.
trying to control things that we don't necessarily understand how to control or even have a full understanding of. But because we're trying to control that, because, you know, we might have a good understanding, we might have a good insight about, but hey, yo, Kevin, would you say my content's pretty good?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at it. Like I wouldn't say I'm the best, but I'm pretty good. Why is it that I'm going to look for a mentor in content and marketing now?
It's always
Is it because
something
I
that
suck? And do I suck at it?
it's always
Fuck
something you
no.
can do.
Fuck no, I don't suck at it. But even something I'm good at, I can do it. Like Kevin, you even said you have a fitness coach. Are you incoherent with fitness? Can you build your own program? Can you do your own nutrition?
Yep.
So why do you have a coach?
Just helps. Just helps overall everything. It's an
Right? These are the
overseer.
type of things. Yeah. Because maybe
It's an
you just
overseer.
and we can even go back to this and like Kevin, this conversation we had, right? We started the call off with this, but how many of us, like generally speaking, would agree that if you just take health, fitness, bit like just whatever in your life, and one of your friends, family member, whatever, they came to you with some life struggles, like we genuinely can or generally can give them some pretty solid advice, right? Like if someone came to me is like, how do you train your dog and something like that, or like how do you get through something like this or whatever it is, I could give pretty like solid advice. Like you could agree, right, Kev?
Yep.
Do you ever take your own fucking advice?
it's
Like no. So then yeah,
much
like
easy. It's much easier for you to kind of say fuck it to yourself than the advice of others.
well, yeah, but then also when we talk about these self-limiting beliefs, sorry, my dog's whining at my door, so she's probably wants outside. But when we have these self-limiting beliefs, it's not gonna it's not going to help us break these ideas of the things that we need to be doing to be successful because maybe we just don't believe that we can actually accomplish that.
Hmm. Yeah. So the big things is like whenever you're starting to feel very overwhelmed, and you try to, like our good boy David Goggins says, silence that inner bitch, right? Uh he was like man, I got an email. You know how he does those running videos? He's like, I got an email from a guy and he asked me, Goggins, I've been trying to work out, man. I've been trying to get better, but I can't seem to get better. And he's like, okay, well, how are you afraid of your goals? He's like, no, not really. He's like, well, that's what you got to do. You got to be afraid of your goals and silence that inner bitch. He always starts his videos. He's like, Yeah, somebody came to me and they said, "Hey, Goggins." But
That's
anyways,
ridiculous.
no. So the big things is like whenever you um whenever you involve somebody else, like a coach, an employee, a team member, whatever way, your accountability starts to increase into much higher levels than you would just by yourself. And then if you also give roles, then you kind of open up bandwidth at the same time that you're opening up vertical bandwidth, right? For you to execute a little bit more, for you to not feel so overwhelmed. And the big thing is like you just kind of have to step into certain roles that maybe you weren't comfortable in stepping into to begin with. For example, you and I have been talking about getting a salesperson for ELC. It may not be comfortable for you. This would be your
No,
first salesperson, right?
dude, no, like this is something I don't want to do.
Is this your first salesperson, or would be your
Yeah.
first salesperson?
Well, and here's the thing: is this also I love doing these calls, but also the fact that I love doing these calls also puts a glass ceiling on the fact that it now caps the amount of people that I'm actually able to help.
Hmm.
And if I'm really doing this to make an impact on the world, I have to be willing to let things go.
Yeah, but like you're gonna have this salesperson, and you're gonna be frustrated with the salesperson. That's gonna happen at the beginning or first
Mhm.
couple of weeks. You're gonna be like, dude, what? So and that's one of the things that a lot of people are scared of doing in just other areas of their life, where they get so overwhelmed, and then they refuse help, they refuse to take action, and then they stay in the same spot, and then they sit there and wonder why things are so difficult all the time. They're very much driven by kind of like the, not, I wouldn't say like ego, but I would say more so like the self-made thing, like I can do it, I can do it, I'm knowledgeable, I'm knowledgeable, I'm knowledgeable. um but in reality, sometimes like trying to wear too many hats can really be destructive, and you just have to put in trust into a team, or put trust that somebody else is giving you good advice at times as well, but you don't really know until you jump in it, and too many people are afraid to jump into it. So for me, the message of the podcast is really like, really stop being a little bitch. 100% stop being such a bitch, and allow people to guide you, even if you don't feel that it's right yet. Take the jump if you've never taken a jump similar to the jump that you're
Mhm.
being presented.
Yeah, and
It may
like
not always go the best way, it may not
no,
always go the best way, but it might. And if
exactly.
it does, that's so much better for you, whatever that is. It could be a little bit of growth, a lot of growth, hopefully not negative growth, but some kind of growth.
Yeah, but like there's gonna be new challenges with everything, everyone, and like this is just the natural progression of things. And this is like I said it earlier, I was being stubborn and I was being selfish
Mm.
because it is. Do I
Yeah.
understand it fully at that? Like why it is? Like I do actually, because this now, like even though it does have a lot of positivity in terms of like what I do. Yeah, but also as well, does it negatively impact a lot of other things that I got going on in terms of the ability to still impact even more and still bring more value, do more things that's going to benefit the overall and not just the microscopic.
Hmm.
But this is also having trust, which a lot of us, let's be honest, it's hard to trust in life.
Hmm.
Now we could go off a whole another tangent about trust, so we won't go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's
But
it's it's definitely difficult when you feel like you have done such a great job, and then all of
it's
a
your
sudden
baby.
letting it go.
It's your baby.
Yeah, what? Yeah, in whatever it is.
Like, dude,
It's like,
one day London's gonna be going off to school and you're gonna have to let the fuck go that she's got control of her life.
yep, one day
You come crying to me, I'm just gonna look at you and be like, "Quit being such a bitch."
I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna be like that 50 Cent movie, where they rob banks, and he had
Oh,
the kid
Den of
come in.
Thieves.
Den of
Dude,
Thieves. Yep.
in the garage.
Yeah,
Yep.
in the garage. That's funny. No, but the big
That's what
thing
I was gonna
is
say
like,
though. But if you really kind of look at that scene, I know this is a side note. If you really look at that scene, I get like the whole idea behind it was to scare the shit out of the kid, but I'm also like, you don't think all those guys with all those different things to do that better instead of garage shirtless, scared a fucking teenager. Like,
that's funny. Yeah.
if you
Not
really think about that, and then
the
you're
the
actually
best.
really in that room, you're like, Are you
The
guys
best
really
scene,
that tough, or like, because like you
the,
guys seem kind of fucking lame?
the best scene of that was like Men in Black, or not Men in Black. Uh, why am I forgetting the movie with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence?
Bad boys.
Bad Boys. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, happens.
Bad Boys, where he was like, "You at least 30." He's like, "How old are you?"
Shit, man, you at least 30.
He's like, "You at least 30."
See, like something like that,
That was
that's
perfect.
fucking funny.
That was a
Because you can
perfect
you
scene.
can you can still send the same message doing these same, well, mind you, they pulled a gun, but still,
Yeah, he
still
pulled the
the
gun and
same
everything.
message.
He was
Then
drunk.
yeah,
No, but anyways, to kind of reel this back in, if you
yeah,
want to reach
tangents.
new levels, you have to let go of old habits
You gotta do the things you don't necessarily want to do to reach the levels that you never necessarily could have reached.
or do things that you may have never known of. Try it, give it a good shot. The thing I heard from Gary Vee the other day, that I was sitting in bed with like Sierra, and I was like, this is the reason why I like Gary Vee a whole lot. Some girl came to him and she was like, I just want to say that you're a huge inspiration to
Oh,
me,
Shay.
because I just want to say, uh, but you're a huge inspiration to me. I quit my job and I'm pursuing, my passion. I can't remember what her passion was. She's like, but I quit my job. And his first question was, how does your family feel about that? And she was like, oh, they're not happy, they're not accepting, and blah blah. He goes, you can always go back. She goes, but I don't want to. He goes, I understand you don't want to, and I want you to succeed in your thing. But just remember, if you fail, you can always go back. That's the beauty about trying things in jobs like that. They'll always be there. They'll always be, those things will always be there. But what won't be there is when you get older and you can't try these things that may have given you fulfillment, even for a short period of time. Even for a short period of time, if you just give it a shot and you don't like it and you grow out of it, you can always go back to the things that were there and that have been there for forever. For example, if you're a mechanic, let's say, right? You've been a mechanic for 10 years and all of a sudden you want to start doing something else. Maybe you want to do photography. You started shooting some from photography on the side. You picked up a good amount of traction with people in your neighborhood, people in your area, and you had a bunch of people that wanted to start paying you, and you jumped out of it. And let's say over time you lose passion. Maybe your camera broke. Maybe something happened, somebody robbed you. Maybe you didn't have as much traction anymore. Maybe people don't like you as much. The trend disappeared. You know the beauty about that? You spent a year or two doing whatever it was with your photography. You can always go back to another fucking dealership, another service department, because there's a gazillion of them, and say, "Hey, I took a couple of years break. I needed it just for my sanity, followed a little bit of passion, but I'm actually still knowledgeable in this field. I would love to get another job back."
Well,
And
I
people
mean,
would still hire you because
well,
it's
and
still
if you look
there.
at it this way too, like think about even just with what we're doing right now, Kev. Like think about right now. I get a guy to help me with calls.
You
I can go right back to doing them.
can go right back.
Okay. My one of my coaches dropped the ball and they can't keep up and do all the things for my clients.
You can go right back to
I can go
coaching.
right back and do it. If online the whole social media online world fails, I can go right back to the gym.
We can go right back to the gym. Bro,
For a real estate agent, you try social media marketing, you try ads, all this shit. You can go back knocking doors.
yep. That's so crazy. And even if you went, like, let's say that example of like a mechanic going and doing photography, what happens if like you do stop doing photography, you go back to the mechanic, you have a new skill that you really
Take
honed in on
balling
for a
ass
year or
pictures,
two.
and now all of a sudden you blow up again.
Yeah, you take some balling ass pictures of cars.
You find a
Dude,
whole new
how many,
industry. You find a whole new industry you never knew that you had a love for. That you find a passion for, and a door
and
opens
then
up
you go
to
back to
you.
your old industry, you mix it to how many cool look, how many videos do you sit there and watch on TikTok of motherfuckers cutting grass and just how pleasing it is? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And how many videos of like power washing or just like shit like that, and you're just like, this is this is satisfying. What if you went and picked up like that hobby, and then you came back to the industry of mechanics and car repairs, and you brought some of that cool creativity, and now you're someone who's picked up traction. People watch your shit. Maybe you start getting paid from social media. I'm just this is obviously just like throwing it out there, right?
But here's the
But it
thing.
can happen.
There's so many doors that can open
So
on
many
so many
doors.
different things. Like for again, prime example, funniest fucking thing. Me and Kevin made a big joke one day about helping coaches in their businesses and giving us a percentage of their business to help them grow and scale. And now we have an agency.
I forgot all about that. Yep.
That was off the cuff as a pure ass joke
As a joke.
when we were just ripping for fun.
Mm-hmm. And now here we are.
So
So the big thing, man. Like I feel like more people just need to give it a shot, and it's like
at the end of the day, like
sometimes
what's the worst thing
frustrating to
that's gonna
me.
happen?
What's the
What's the
yeah? What's
worst
the
thing that's
worst
gonna
thing?
happen? The worst thing,
Nothing.
you lose a little bit of time and maybe you spend a couple $1,000s that you had as a cushion for having as a fucking cushion.
And I'm just gonna tell you right now, for those of you who are single, no kids, and you're like debating doing something new. When you have kids, it's much harder. It's much harder to switch shit up. I can tell you that much. But if you're single, try it out. Give it a shot before you're a family man. Give it a shot before you're married or like really in a relationship. Okay? That's like the best time to do it. To really give it a good fucking shot. Because you may think, somebody may think, I got time. Dude, it's much harder. You can still do it. Trust me. I'm not saying you can't. I'm never a you can't kind of guy. But it's definitely much harder. Your time constraint increase. Okay. You have more obligations in other areas. But yeah, the big thing is like if you're single, fuck it, give it a shot. Are you reading your boys' comments on Facebook? I figured this was your friend.
Yeah, he's like my homie from like way back,
uh,
and like he's having a kid and everything here too. And yeah, I just chatted with him yesterday, and well, we have a barbecue on next, not this weekend, next weekend. But then we're also
nice.
starting this thing because like our group circle, like one for homie
Yeah.
lives in Denver, one lives in Toronto, us
Yeah.
two live here, so we're gonna start like doing like every once 2 weeks, once a month, just do a quick 15-20 minute FaceTime. We're all gonna buy like PlayStations or some shit to do some gaming. Dude, I'm gonna buy a PlayStation or do some
Dude,
gaming so we can game.
bro, bro, Call of Duty comes out today. Bro, 100%, bro.
I suck at video games, but whatever.
100%, bro.
But anyway, everyone. So the whole point with this is sometimes you're gonna feel like you're spinning your tires. Sometimes it's just because you got things that you gotta either learn, you gotta replace, you gotta let go of. You got to do something so that way that
Gotta
forward
do something.
momentum can now release and you can get that vertical drive so that way you can start growing. Other than
Yeah.
that, these aren't happening to you, they're happening for you. You got to look at the signs, change your perspective, and you know what?
And
Stop being a
they're also
bitch,
happening
let
because of
things
you.
go. And this is because of you, not the
Hmm.
outside world, because of you. When you start looking at yourself and the things you need to change, your life will truly change.
Yeah, things don't happen to you. They happen because of you, you know. But again, just give it a shot. Give it a shot. Stop sitting there. I don't know. Let me think about it. What else? What else is there? No, I don't know. You're not gonna know till you're in it. You're not gonna know till you're in it. Um, but just jump in head first. Fuck it. Crack your skull. They're staples nowadays.
Drafty.
Oh
All
man.
right, but if
No,
you are diving into a
Pod-A-Holics.
deep end, then make sure you
Yep.
don't hit the bottom.
Pod-A-Holics episode 23. Hopefully you guys got something out of this. A lot of the times we come in into these episodes from just like our weekly thoughts of the things that we just kind of briefly talk about and then talk about more on these episodes. And it's different here because like we're talking into this in hopes that somebody at the under end of this mic is listening. Okay. And it sounds like you guys are, it looks like you guys are. So if you guys are listening, leave a motherfucking review. God damn, how many fucking times I gotta ask you guys leave a fucking review on Spotify? Shit. Leave a review on Spotify. I love you guys for real. It is very, very, very solid that you guys are always treating us solid on these episodes and really listening, chiming in and everything. If you guys need more information of OMG, we'll gladly share that. If you guys need help with your fitness, we will gladly share that. If you guys need $1, don't come to me because I ain't letting you bother anything. Don't come to me. Okay. Maybe go to Corey, but don't come to me. I don't got
Why
$1.
you call me soft?
But much love, guys. Pod-A-Holics episode 23. See you guys later. Peace.